I saw this article, and it has to do with the 49ers looking into everything that's gone wrong with all of the injuries. This includes an investigation into a viral conspiracy theory that the electrical substation near the training facility and the 49ers stadium is contributing to those injuries. John Lynch, the general manager, spoke yesterday.
You have to look into everything. And so our guys we've been reaching out to anyone and everyone to see, does a study exist other than a guy sticking an apparatus underneath a fence and coming up with a number that I have no idea what that means. That's what we know exists. We've heard that debunked. So yes, we will look into it. We have, and we'll always be cognizant of things. I know that a lot of games have been won at this facility, since it opened. But yeah, we aren't going to turn a blind eye. We'll look into everything.
Well, the Washington Post has a writer who's been covering this, Sam Fortier, who joins us on the program. Sam, how'd you get connected with this story?
Funny, my girlfriend came over to me and showed me a TikTok and was like, "Hey, have you heard about this?" And it was a tweet that had gone viral. Google Maps had a big circle and it had the Stranger Things music. It was very ominous. And I was like, come on, like that, conspiracy theories go viral on the internet all the time. But then during Niners-Eagles, one of my coworkers, Albert Samaha, who I worked on this story with, texted our group chat and was like, "Hey guys, this is really picking up momentum." And then I just thought to myself, hey, it is not news that someone has a conspiracy theory, but let's see if people are interested in this. So I used to be an NFL beat writer. So I texted, 36 agents, and like as much of anything that I've ever reached out to them about, people were hitting me back like, "Yeah, I have heard of this. Players are talking about this." And to me, the news was whether or not this is real, some players might be buying in.
What experts did you talk to?
We talked to several experts in EMF, electromagnetic fields, and basically they explained that there's no scientific evidence to say this is possible, but two of the three that we talked to said it wouldn't hurt to study it more. This is a field that hasn't really been studied. People have been studying cell phone towers more. But the people that we talked to are experts in this specific thing, the EMF, electromagnetic fields that go from the substation allegedly to the practice field.
Did your article debunk this?
That the science was that there's no clear evidence for this. One of the experts we talked to said this is nonsense, it's ridiculous. One of them said it's quite unlikely, but we could study it more. And one of them said it's theoretically possible, but we can study it more.
But Sam, it feels like when you have the general manager of the Niners acknowledging this, it just keeps the story alive.
When you have had the injuries that they have had, according to that metric that Aaron Schatz does, adjusted games lost, the Niners have been the most injured team in the NFL over the last decade. And you can talk about luck, you can talk about turf, offseason programs. Is the training staff incompetent? Does Kyle Shanahan practice too hard? There's a lot of theories here, and I think when it's been going on for a decade. I think John Lynch, at some point you got to be frustrated and say, okay, let's look at everything.
The Niners led the league in adjusted games lost, just over 141. So that dwarfs the other teams in the league. Did you talk to Niner players?
We talked to some agents who represent Niner players. We talked to the Niners. They declined to comment. But certainly this is a concern even in the building.
This is pretty wild. How did your boss react when you said, "Hey, I want to cover this story about the Niners, and it has nothing to do with their games this year"?
He was, I think, a little skeptical at first. But when I said to him, "Hey, I've heard back from 5 agents in the 20 minutes I've been working on this that have said, hey, yes, like this is of concern. We are hearing about this." He was like, "Oh, definitely, like keep pursuing that then." And the science, the science was going to be murkier than it was. The science ended up being pretty clear that there's no, and even the guy who went viral for establishing this theory, Peter's his name. He's a software engineer and alternative medicine health coach. Even he said there is no studies that show a direct relationship between EMF and damage to tendons and ligaments and the soft tissue stuff that we're talking about. But he said, "Hey, like this is how I came up with my theory. It was my own work." But my editor was like, once the science is pretty clear and we had people believing in it, players who they say it could affect free agency, He was like, I love that. Get it to me as soon as you can.
Sam, if you're a great reporter, you would sleep next to this power or substation for a month and see how it affects your body.
That is something. I don't know if they want first person gonzo journalism, but I'm willing. I'm willing.
Thanks for joining us. We appreciate it, Sam.
Thanks for having me, Dan. I appreciate it.
And Washington Post writer, Sam Fortier. I saw it on the internet and they attached the Stranger Things feel to it, and it made it feel like it was really something. But the fact that the theory has been shot down by various scientists and medical professionals. So you have you got people from England who are weighing in on this. And they told the Washington Post the theory is nonsense.